I think we're live. Oh my goodness. I'm so excited. And I'm also very nervous. Hello. Hello, hello. Still getting one or two things ready to go. Because I figured it would take people quite some time to get here. If you're here from Patreon, give me a little wave or a little comment so I know that you're cooking with me. I'm so excited. Where did that thingy go? I don't know where my thingy is. Professional cooker, I am not. But that's fine. Okay, where is my strainer thingy? That's okay. There you are. Okay. Ready to go. Hello! I finally got all my stuff ready. Welcome. Please feel free to talk in the chat or anything. Ask me any questions. We'll give it a few minutes for people to come and get here. I'm so excited about it. We've got everything set up. We're ready to go. Just as soon as everybody gets here, we're going to give people a little bit of time to get situated and get ready to cook. I'm so excited about this first cooking live. And I've got my recipe over here. So today we're going to make some miso soup, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the history of miso soup. So if you want to cook along with us, Patreon members have gotten the ingredients list already, but if you happen to have dashi, tofu, wakame seaweed, and sendai mochi, you're more than welcome to cook with us today. So we'll give it about 3 more minutes and then we'll get started cooking. So I'm very excited about this. I'm drinking some coffee too. I don't have an apron. I really should get an apron for this, but you know, it's fine. So if you're here from Patreon, let me know in the comments. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to let me know in the comments. Ask anything. Totally fine. I'm here to answer your questions. Ooh, got it. This is the first YouTube live that I'm doing, so I'm a little bit nervous, a little bit excited about it. Waffles is excited too. So yeah, we'll give it just a few more minutes until people get here. The cats are very excited about this. Ooh, I just touched waffles. Let me wash my hands really quickly. Okay, we're almost ready. Are you cooking with us today? I hope you are. I hope you can. Miso soup is really easy and so good for you to cook. Yes, Waffy, hold on one second. Yes, Waffles, there you go. We're back. Okay. Alrighty. Well, let's get to cooking. We're 5 minutes in, so let's get started. So today we're gonna make miso. So miso has come from, I'm so excited to cook. Me too, Megan, me too. So what we're doing today is cooking some miso soup. So it's more boiling, less cooking. And miso has been used in Japan for quite some time, a few thousand years. It came, not a few, 1,000-ish years. So it came over from China in the 7th century. And Chinese miso and Japanese miso are very different. But it came over during the 7th century, and it started out as an aristocratic dish only. And people wouldn't season their food with it. What they would do is like lick it like an ice cream. Like you just have like a spoonful of miso and then just lick it like a lollipop. I don't know if you've ever had a spoonful of peanut butter, but that's essentially what they did. And it was also used as a spread. So if you had some, I don't know, chicken or something that you were eating, you could put the miso straight on there. And there's lots of varieties of miso, but the miso that we're going to talk about today is Sendai miso. And this is a very special miso because it was developed by a samurai warlord who we're going to talk about a little bit later today. So where was I? Yeah. In the beginning, it was used only for the rich and the wealthy, and they would spread it on things and they would lick it like it was a little miso lollipop. And then gradually it became a meal for soldiers, for samurai, because it doesn't go bad very quickly. And they would take this with them, and it was easy to just chuck it in a pot of boiling water, put some veggies in there, whatever meat that you had available, and make really good, healthy, hearty soups for your soldiers. So that's how it was first developed. And during the Warring States period, in the late 15-ish hundreds, it really started to be used almost exclusively for military use, because in the Sengoku period, it was all just war. Then at the end of the Sengoku period, in the middle 1600s, it started to change. And that was because of a samurai called Date Masamune, the one-eyed dragon. And this guy was absolutely terrifying. So just to give you a little idea of how terrifying this person was, Date Masamune had smallpox, I believe it was. He had smallpox, and it infected his eye. And so what he did was he plucked out his own eye so that the infection wouldn't spread, and or had one of his attendants pluck out his eye for him. So he went hard. He was absolutely terrifying. But what many people don't know is that he loved to cook. He absolutely loved cooking. After this Warring States period was over and it was a time of peace, this man would spend 2 hours in the morning thinking of the menu for his palace. And rumor has it that he would do it in his bathroom. Like he would just be chilling in his bath during the morning, and he would come up with the menu for the whole palace for that week or that day. And he created a huge miso factory right next to his castle. Unfortunately, we don't have that factory anymore because it got burned down, but that's where we get Sendai miso from. When he was developing this, it started out as research for the military, and the miso soup that other people were carrying went bad, particularly in this one situation where a bunch of samurai went to Korea to try and colonize. And the only miso that didn't go bad was Sendai miso, developed by Date Masamune, this amazing warlord chef. So that's what we're gonna make today, is Sendai miso. So miso can be made lots of different ways. There's different regional miso all over the place. My mother-in-law makes white miso with carrots and daikon, the Japanese radish, totally differently. So this miso is a red miso base, and it's really, really good. It's kind of my favorite. So let me show you what this miso looks like. First of all, ooh, it's fresh. It's like real fresh, so you can see. We're gonna take this off. And we're gonna take out the little thingy, and here it is. This is the miso. So Sendai miso is different in many ways from other miso. Ted, excuse you, ma'am. because the bits are bigger. It's less finely ground down than other miso, if you can see that. And that's kind of what helps it stay fresher for longer, is the bigger chunks, that's the scientific word, the bigger chunks of soybeans. And it's also fermented for a longer period of time, which makes it way more flavorful. You don't have to use as much of this as you would other miso. So what we're gonna do is first we're gonna fill up our pot with some water. I'm gonna get the cat out of the sink really quick. Just filling up the water. So depending on your pot size, depending on how much you want to make, I filled it about 2/3 of the way up. So we've got our pot and we're gonna set it to boil. So the cool thing about miso soup is that it's samurai food, really. So there is a saying called ichiju ichisai that means one soup, one side dish, one soup, and one main dish, and pickles. So that is the typical meal for samurai, and it's really cool that we still have this same style of meal today. You can go to any what's called teishoku. You can go to any teishoku place, which is like a little lunch place in Japan, and still get that same style of food. So while we wait for this pot to boil, I'm gonna take a quick drink of coffee because I'm a little bit nervous right now, so give me a second. Okay. So, while we wait for our pot to boil, we're gonna open up our tofu. And we're gonna not press it to drain it, because we still want a little bit of that water in there. I know often, at least in the United States, people will drain their tofu, like press it down to get all of the water out of it. But that's not what we want to do. Oh, I forgot a first step. So we've got our tofu. We're gonna let it sit here for a little bit to get a little bit of the water out, but we're not gonna press it. Then we're gonna fill up a bowl, okay? And we're gonna reconstitute our wakame. So we've got miso, we've got tofu, we've got dashi, which we'll talk about a little bit later, and then we have wakame. So wakame is a type of seaweed, and it's dehydrated. So we have to reconstitute it before we put it back in here, or else it will get really mushy and gross. So we're just gonna take how much ever you want. I like to get a good handful of it, about this much. And we're gonna stick it in our water and we're gonna let it reconstitute. So it's getting plump once again. And it takes about a minute or so to reconstitute. And if you haven't already been cooking with chopsticks, you need to. These are good for everything. I can use chopsticks to mix literally everything and it's so good. So we got our wakame chilling in the water bath right now, waiting to reconstitute. We've got our pot almost ready. So while we wait, I'm gonna tell you a little bit more about Date Masamune, because this guy is absolutely insane. So my best friend loves to play these, they're called otome games. And basically it's like little app games where you get whisked away somehow into the past. It's like a time slip and you get whisked away into the past and you're the main character. And there's one game that's all about the Sengoku samurai warlords, and you like fall in love with these warlords. And along the way you also learn a lot of incredible historical facts. And she learned that Date Masamune was a huge foodie from this game. So that's how this whole series actually started, was from this love game. So that's how we figured out that Date Masamune was totally in love with food. And then I did more research and found out that, yeah, this guy was absolutely in love with food. And he said that people who didn't have an appreciation for food had a narrow mind and no soul, which it's a little harsh. But I kind of agree with him because I love food. So our pot is here, it's boiling, it's doing its thing. Our wakame is pretty much all reconstituted. Ooh, look at it. It's looking so good. It puffed up like 3-4 times. It's huge now. So we got our water boiling. We've got our wakame. And what we're gonna do is take our dashi first. And dashi is used for everything. Dashi is a soup base. It's like a soup stock, but it's fish instead of like a meat, which we usually have in the West. So it's used in literally every Japanese dish. You have it in soups, you have it in meat dishes, stir fries, everything, literally everything. So what we're gonna do is take our dashi, and it comes like this. You can also use dashi in a liquid form, but I prefer it in this form because it's a little bit more potent is the word that I'm looking for. So we're gonna take our dashi and we're gonna take about a spoonful. Ooh. And add it in. And I know you're technically not supposed to do this, but I'm taking my wet spoon and adding another one. I have the exact measurements for people on Patreon. So Patreon members got a chance to get the ingredients and a notification beforehand of the cooking live event. So if you're interested in the more precise ingredients and directions, you can join us over on Patreon. So we've got this, and what we're gonna do is take down the heat a little bit so it's not boiling so hard, because we don't want to make our tofu all mushy. So we've got our boiling water. Next, we're gonna add in our wakame. You're not gonna wanna add the water, so you're gonna take your chopsticks, give it a little tappy tap tap tap, and you're gonna add your wakame in there. And again, you can add as little or as much as you want to. It doesn't have to be a precise measurement because it's just kind of whatever you want. That's the beautiful thing about miso. If I could grab the rest of the seaweed. Awesome. So we've got our wakame in there. We're gonna dump out our water. And then we're gonna add in our tofu. So you can make your tofu chunks as big or as small as you want. I recommend a little bit on the smaller side because if they're too big, then they just kind of fall apart and they don't boil very well. So we're just cutting it up like this. And we're gonna do what my mother-in-law does and just take the knife. I'm not as good as she is. And we're just gonna bloop, 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 our tofu in there. Bloop, 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 bloop is a technical word. So if you don't say bloop, 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 bloop while you put in your miso, your tofu into your miso, it's not gonna turn out as good. So here we go. We've got our tofu in our miso. We're gonna give it a tiny stir, just a little tiny stir to make sure our tofu is separated. If you go in there like stirring, it's gonna break up your tofu. And now here is my absolute favorite part. So if you have a large spoon, great. If you have one of these sifter things, that works even better. Because we don't want to add in the miso straight into the pot. Because if we do that, then it's going to break up the rest of the tofu. Really, it's just us trying to protect the tofu at all costs. That's our job as the chef. So you're gonna take about a spoonful of miso. If you don't have one of these or a big spoon, you can get a separate bowl. You can take a little bit of the boiling water into the separate bowl and mix the miso into that separate bowl if you need to. It's totally fine to do it that way. So I have one of these because my mother-in-law is amazing. So we have our miso in here, just like this, okay? Then we're gonna take a spoon, a fork, our chopsticks, whatever works, and we're going to put it slightly into the water and start mixing so that the hot water can get into the miso. And mix it in like this. So another hilarious thing about Date Masamune is that even though he wasn't like the top samurai warlord guy, he acted like it. And he would often show up or not show up to places because he got too drunk. And there's one famous situation where he was supposed to meet, I think it was Tokugawa Ieyasu, one of like the main dudes, like the shogun of the time. And they were having a really important meeting and he just didn't show up. And he sent a messenger and was like, sorry, I'm too hungover from partying the night before, which is very gutsy. So we've got our miso. It is totally melted. And now we're just going to pour it in to the pot. And then we're gonna take a clean spoon and we're gonna taste test. So sometimes you need to add more miso, sometimes you need to add more dashi. So we're just gonna take it. Ooh, we need, oh my God, that is really good. Ooh, I got it all over my hands. We're gonna take just a skosh more because I really like koi. What's the English word for koi? That's koi, is strong flavor. Mini Japanese lesson. Koi means not only fish, but strong flavor. When something is koi, it has a strong flavor. Okay, so I'm just gonna take a little bit more of the miso and mix it in. Nowadays, miso is used in so many things. Sometimes people make it into dips. Sometimes people make it into marinades. Miso is so versatile and you can use it, like this container is gonna last me months, absolute months. And you could use it in so many ways. It's so great. It really just doesn't go bad. It does eventually, but it takes a really long time. So we're gonna give it one more stir right here. And then we're gonna take our testing spoon and see. Oh, it's perfect. It's so good. It's so good. Can you see it? You can't see it. I'm gonna spill it everywhere. Ooh, okay. So we've got our miso. In a matter of a few minutes, we have a delicious meal ready to go. And if we wanted to do it the proper samurai way, we would have this soup, we would have another lighter soup, we would have a side dish and a main dish, and then we would end with pickles. So in order to serve up your miso, what I recommend is one of these types of spoons so that you can get the tofu and the wakame in there without the soup first so that you can get some of the good stuff. And then take your other spoon and get yourself some of the soup. I really should be using a better spoon for this, but that's not what I have available to me. All right, so now we have our miso soup all ready, all done, prepared for us to eat for morning, which is called breakfast, lunchtime, dinner time. You can have miso soup anytime. And if you have one of these containers of miso, you'll be able to make yourself some miso soup for like months, absolute months. So I hope you enjoyed this look at historical eating, this look at miso, and enjoyed learning about Date Masamune, the absolutely terrifying but also incredible chef slash samurai warlord. And if you have any questions, if you made this miso, please sound off in the comments. Let me know if you made it with me. Megan, ooh, it looks like you made it with me too. Did I get in at the last minute? You did! You did, Nate. I'm sorry. No worries. I'm gonna be doing more live cooking shows in the future. Not that I'm not the best chef in the world, so it'll be an adventure for us together. No, it's okay. Don't worry about it. I'm glad that you're here even at the end, so no worries at all. So if you would like to know more about historical eating, historical foods, I'll be doing one of these every month, and Patreon members will get early notification of when the next live will be, and then they will also get the ingredients list so that they can make it right along with me. So thank you so much for coming and joining. If you have any questions or comments or critiques or anything, I would love to hear from you in the comments or send me a message. And thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. I'm so glad that you enjoyed it. Thank you, Megan. Thank you, Char. I really appreciate you being here. And I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much. This was so fun. I was so nervous. I'm like sweating right now. Do you see how glistening I am? That's not makeup. That's me sweating and dying. Okay. I will see you guys later. Okay. Mwah, mwah. I love you. Bye.